I don't know about you, but I am an absolute sucker for those kinds of articles that detail like the daily habits and the morning routines of famous authors and other well-known people. And I was reading one recently and I noticed that there's this disparity between the morning routines and the time at which a lot of authors get to work. For instance, the author Haruki Murakami, who wrote IQ84 and The White Bird Chronicle, among other books, liked to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and write for 5 or 6 hours before doing anything else when he was in novel writing mode. And this is pretty similar to what Ernest Hemingway did as well. And on the other hand, you've got authors like Margaret Atwood, who still woke up pretty early in the morning, but tended to procrastinate and like to get into her writing later in the day. So what that says to me is that you can be a successful author or really have success in any field without adhering to a specific daily schedule or pattern of doing things. And it's in that context that I want to answer a question that I got on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. Do you have any advice for somebody who plans out everything the night before, but then loses all motivation the next morning? So first and foremost, I want to give props to this person for planning out their day the night before. I think that is an excellent habit to get into. It's what I do in my daily schedule, and I think it creates a nice separation between your planning mode and your doing mode. And at least in my case, when I wake up, it makes me feel a little bit beholden to my past self, and that helps me actually do what I plan to do. With that being said though, let's get into some solutions for this problem. And the first idea I have for you today goes back to that disparity between the different daily schedules of famous authors. If your current daily schedule isn't working for you, try changing it up. You see, I think there are two different kinds of people, and hence there are two solutions for how to structure your day. On one hand, you have people who do their best work first thing in the morning. These are the people like Hemingway and Murakami, the people who can just basically roll out of bed and get straight to work on the hardest task of the day. And if you think you're that kind of a person, or maybe you don't know and you want to do an experiment, try putting the most difficult task on your daily plan first and then tackle that right when you wake up in the morning. And if at first glance you don't really know what your most challenging task is, take a look at your daily plan and ask yourself, which of these tasks do I have the most resistance to starting? As the author Steven Pressfield put it in his excellent book, The War of Art, like a magnetized needle floating on a surface of oil, resistance will unfailingly point to true north, meaning that calling or action it most wants to stop us from doing. We can use this. We can use it as a compass. We can navigate by resistance, letting it guide us to that calling or action that we must follow before all others. Now, while trying this strategy out might help you be more motivated in the morning, it also might not. And that's why I think it's important to experiment a bit to see which category of people you fall into. Because there is a second category of people, and I think that I fall into the second category, and these are the kind of people who need to build up a bit of productive momentum before they get into the most challenging work of the day. Now, maybe you're wondering what productive momentum means. And to explain this, I want to tell you a story about a piece of advice a friend gave me a few years ago. He told me that when I'm procrastinating on starting a big, challenging task, I should go do the dishes. And the reason for that is that dishes are a chore, they are work, but they're what he called low-level work. Doing the dishes is not a cognitively demanding task, which means there's not a whole lot of mental resistance to starting them. But once you get into the flow of doing them, or really any other kind of chore or low-level task, you start to build up some productive momentum. You get your brain into work mode, and that momentum can carry you into that more challenging task that you were procrastinating on earlier. So if you're not the kind of person who can start doing your most challenging work first thing in the morning, I think you should try to integrate that process of building productive momentum right into your daily schedule. And you do that by building a morning routine. Now, we'll definitely talk more about morning routines in the future, and I'll be sharing mine with you in detail, but to get you started, if you don't have a morning routine right now, sit down with a piece of paper and create a list of 3 to 5 habits that you'll do when you wake up first thing in the morning. And these things can be easy, but the key is that they start to build up some of that productive momentum and get you ready for the day. So they can be things like meditating, cooking breakfast, going for a walk, or going to the gym, really anything that kind of gets you in a productive mindset. Now, whether you're that kind of person who can roll out of bed and start working right away, or you're the kind of person who needs a morning routine, I do have a couple more ideas that you can try out as well. First off, if you don't tend to get all the things in your daily plan done each and every day, try putting fewer things on that plan in the first place. There's a concept that's talked about in books like Getting Results the Agile Way and The Productivity Project called the Rule of 3. And this concept advises boiling your daily task list down to the 3 most important items that must be done and nothing else. Now, I don't think there's anything particularly special about the number 3, but I do like this concept because it's focused on helping you narrow that gap between what you plan to do and what you execute on. Because if you're constantly maintaining this gap, you're waking up every day and you have this subconscious expectation that you're not going to get done what you planned. And that can only kill your motivation. On the flip side, if you eliminate that gap and you consistently do what you set out to do, you're going to wake up with a lot more drive to do it because there's that confidence there. The last idea I want to talk about here might be the most important, and it's the difference between push motivation and pull motivation. And there's this quote from Tony Robbins that I really like that goes, "There are 2 different kinds of motivation. Push requires willpower and willpower never lasts. What will last is pull. Having something so exciting, so attractive, something you desire so much that you have a hard time going to sleep at night. You get up so early in the morning and you take it to the next level. I wanted to include this quote because, at least on an idea level, I absolutely agree with it. And I think that it does play a large part in why people like Murakami and Hemingway got up and worked so hard first thing in the morning. They had this overbearing idea just pulling at them and making them want to do nothing else. But I also think that that was their personality and that there are other authors out there, other people in different fields who work in different ways. And I'm also a bit of a realistic person because I know you might be in school or you might be in a job right now or you might be in that part of your journey where you're kind of just having to embrace the grind and there's not a whole lot of passion in what you do, but it's still a necessary part of the process. And if you do happen to be in that situation where you just don't have something pulling at every fiber of your being and making you want to work 25 hours a day, you don't have to wait for that thing to show up to gain motivation to work in the morning. I think you can gain some of the benefits of that idea by simply building something smaller that does pull you in maybe a weaker but still significant way into your morning routine. So in addition to those habits that help you build that productive momentum, I think you should also have something that you truly look forward to doing when you wake up in the morning. And it can be really small. For me, one of my favorite things to do in the morning is to just go outside for a short walk and listen to a podcast or an audiobook. And that might sound mundane to some people, but it did make me look forward to starting my day, and that raises my overall motivation level to get into my work. Now, when it comes to waking up more motivated, these ideas are certainly not the only things you can do, but I do think you'll find them beneficial if you try implementing them into your daily schedule. And if you've got additional ideas, I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, learned something new, you can leave a like to support this channel, and if you're not subscribed yet, you can do so right there. You can also get a free copy of my book on earning better grades by clicking right there, and you can find another video on this channel by clicking right there. Additionally, if you want to get a podcast episode that's all about my motivation strategies and daily habits, you can click right there and listen to your heart's content. Thanks for watching.